Welcome to this published author's interview. My name is Kenneth Muyingo, and with me I have a special guest that I'm going to be interviewing. First, I just want to mention, if you watch this interview and you would like to write a book yourself, there's a link with the interview for you to join the group, become an author, and write your first book to connect with like-minded people who are doing the same. With that said, I would like to get into the interview by asking my guest to say hello to our viewers and listeners and themselves.
Yo, peace and blessings to everybody out there. I pray that blessings and peace is upon you and your family, and you stand safe during this pandemic, and everything is going in your favor. How you doing?
Indeed. Well, thank you so much. And if somebody's watching this interview and they would like to know more about you, what would you tell them about yourself?
I'm an ex-gang member who changed his life, and my life is dedicated to assisting people who are going through trials and tribulations and dark times in their lives, assisting them with, recovery, healing, self-discovery. I'm also an activist. I'm an advocate for victims of violent crimes, people who survive trauma, violent crimes, and, I'm on a mission for the Most High. That's what my life dedication is, to assist my brothers and sisters who may be going through something, who feel like society don't hear them, society don't recognize them. That's what I'm here for, to, just get my peoples in tune so that we can, be prepared to, make advancements and make progress in this world.
Amazing. And you say that you're an ex-gang member?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
I've been gangbanging, or I've been affiliated with gangs as far as back as I can remember. See, what a lot of people really don't know about gangs is kind of like a religion, right? And I say that in this sense, like when I was a child, I didn't know anything about Christianity. I just knew it was something that I inherited from my grandmother, my auntie, my mother, my father, so on and so forth. But it's pretty much like that in California. Being a gang member is just something that you're born into. It's a part of your identity. You feel what I'm saying? Until you get up in age and you say, hold on, something isn't right with the way that we're treating each other, the way that we're dealing with each other, until something clicks. But being a kid born into a gang, and you look around, you come outside, and all you see is Crips hanging out and they doing their day-to-day activities, you believe that this is normal until you see and be able to get out and explore and go different places and say, wait, hold on. This isn't the way that other societies and other cities and other neighborhoods function. They don't walk around with guns, and they don't, conduct themselves in this type of manner out in public. You get what I'm saying?
Indeed. Wow. This is Mr. Bobby Jones. And
yes, sir.
It's a pleasure to have you on the published author's interview. And
thank you.
You have also published. Can you tell us about that part of your life?
Ever since I was a child, I feel like I had something to say. I wanted to, share my stories with the world, because just in a nutshell, real quick, about what influenced me and why I do what it is that I do. I was a crack baby. A crack baby is a child whose mother had consumed crack cocaine while she was pregnant until the baby was pushed out. So when my mother went to the hospital to have me, they found a large amount of crack cocaine in my system. So they was going to take me from my mother and put me in the care of foster home, CPS, Child Protective Services, DCF, Department of Children and Family Services. But my father abducted me from the hospital. So as a newborn, my father stole me from the hospital. My father was homeless, so we slept in parks, we slept in cars, we slept in vacant houses, we slept anywhere where we can find shelter. Knowing this about myself, and me, moving with certain relatives, and me being abused and, just treated unfairly, I said, I have a story. And it may be other people who may be going through what I'm going through that doesn't have the strength to, persevere, that doesn't have the resiliency that I have, that my story may be able to motivate, touch, and encourage. So, I was in prison, and I said, in juvenile hall, and I said, I want to be a writer. I want to tell stories and so on and so forth. Being that I was a problematic child when I was in juvenile hall, I was moved from this institution to this institution to that institution. So it ultimately resulted in me constantly losing writings. I write my stories, and I'll be moved. My property will come up missing. so I was kind of like discouraged. And then when I got out of prison and I came home, me and my children mother had got into it, and she seen how passionate I was about my writing. So to hurt me, she burnt all my writing. So I was kind of like discouraged. You feel what I'm saying? But that's where my writing come from. Just want to, put these stories out here, and hopefully they resonate with somebody and give somebody alternative, from gang banging or being suicidal or being self-destructive. You feel what I'm saying?
Wow.
But initially, my first book that I published is just about my poetry. It's called Bobby A. Jones Presents Lyrics from My Reality. But all these lyrics is about actual things that's going on in society. There's one poem that I wrote dedicated to a young lady that I knew who was sexually molested as a child. And being that she was sexually molested, it killed her self-esteem. So she began to devalue herself. And being that she didn't have a positive male role model or father in her life, she always wanted that fatherly love. So she went to the streets looking for love. And you and I both know in the gang, in destitute communities, most destitute communities and most gang environments, areas where there's a lot of gang members and gang activity, there's no love there. The streets there's no love. So ultimately you're putting yourself in a position to where you're going to ultimately fail. You feel me? You sleeping with this dude and you sleeping with that dude, looking for, a male love, but that you're looking for that father figure that she didn't have. And so that's what my first book was about. Then my second book, which is Bobby A. Jones Presents Infamous Courts. It's about situations that I was exposed to as a kid. There's one story where I talk about. It's called Right Name Wrong NIGGA, but it's about a story to a manipulative gang member in my community. Owe a guy a debt. So he's like, so on and so forth for sleeping with your wife. So the individual that he's telling this to, he's not a real thinker. He's very impulsive. So he's like, who's sleeping with my wife? He say, I ain't gonna say too much. And he dropped a name out there, but the name that he dropped out there is two of those individuals that stay in my neighborhood. But just so happened that this individual was the wrong person was walking by. And so the individual that he told this to seen this man. And, later on at night, he went and killed him, but that wasn't the correct person that was sleeping with his wife. And the reason why the dude put that seed in his head, because he owed him like $10,000. So instead of me paying you, I'd rather, you
die.
I'd rather you die. Yeah.
Wow. Man, you have been through quite a journey, and it takes a lot of courage to come from a place like that and to realize that there's value and there's a powerful message in your story, and you choose to share it. That's very inspiring, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I just want to ask a question, like looking at the way the world is disrupted right now, and if somebody is watching this interview and they feel like they're in a tough place, or they feel like they're not worthy, or they don't love themselves, or they're looking for love in the wrong places, knowing what you know and seeing what you have seen, what would you share with them?
It's an old saying, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with it, but it says, tough times don't last, but tough peoples do.
Yeah.
Like, you have to find that value within you. You have to find something that drives you. You have to find your passion, connect with your passion. Like, my passion is being there for people who feel like they don't have anybody. That's my passion. That's what motivates me. That's why when I got the job of being an advocate for people who survive violent crimes, I'm like, this isn't work for me, because this is something that I'm passionate about. This is something that I love to do. And then also you have to understand that you have value. There's value within you. You can't let circumstances define you. You can't let the world tell you that you are this when you know that you are that. You feel what I'm saying? So you just got to be positive and optimistic and know that there's a mission that's bigger than you and I. You feel what I'm saying? Because sometimes we look at the world from a selfish perspective. It's about me. It's not about me. It's about what can I do for you to assist you through getting through your dark times. So you just got to find something that you can love and be passionate about. That you also have to love yourself. You also have to know that you got something to contribute to this world. So when you know you have something to contribute to this world, that'll inspire you to get out of these dark places so that you can get out there and get on your mission of whatever your mission is. You feel me? You can be a preacher. You can be whatever it is that drives you. You feel what I'm saying? Never allow the world or people to rob you of your passion and your identity.
Wow, I feel you. That is powerful. Thank you so much, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
And like the journey you shared, I mean, you had these desires already to write a book. And
Mm-hmm.
several times when you were being moved from the homes that you were staying in and your property was left behind and you lost your writings, but you kept writing again. And then you had a partner who also burnt your writings because she knew that it was special to you.
Right.
But you eventually you stuck with it and wrote still. I'm curious, what inspired you to just keep that fire burning until that first book was published?
Society. I have a story to tell.
Yeah,
And then I had to prove it to myself. Like everything that I just told you,
yeah,
finding that value within yourself, finding that mission, connecting to that,
yeah,
and just staying on that path. I had
yeah,
to prove it to myself that I can be a published writer. Like I would not let up. I had to publish some books. You feel what I'm saying? I had to
yeah,
prove it to myself when society was saying, you can't do it. You're not
yeah,
going to do it. Why
yeah,
haven't you been doing it? What
yeah.
is it taking? I had to prove it to myself. I had to get it out there. And now that
Wow.
I have published 2 books, I'm able to go back into my community and inspire other people to write and do screenplays. Because like I was sharing with you, there's a movie about my life on Netflix called Imperial Dreams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And in Imperial Dreams, it's about me, getting published and wanting to, be a published writer and turn my life around and not, go back into the the normalities of the ghetto,
Yeah,
gang banging, selling drugs, us belittling, degrading ourselves. I wanted to do something better than what I was doing. I wanted to do something better than what I was taught by my family members in my community and the environment that I was raised in.
yeah. Wow. I gotta check this out. Imperial Reality.
Imperial Dreams, yes, sir.
Imperial Dreams. Wow, that's amazing, man.
The
And
star
it's
of
on
it is
and it's on
the star of it
Netflix.
is John Boyega from have you seen a recent Star Wars fan
Yes?
from Star Wars, John Boyega? He's
Yeah.
the star of Imperial Dreams.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Powerful story, Bobby. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
sir. Thank you.
And and like the journey you've been on, I mean, you started writing way earlier.
Yeah,
Like
as a kid.
and they just kept throwing away your stuff. They just kept moving you. And when you look back on the journey, regardless of all the opposition and the resistance that you went through on this journey, would you consider yourself as a naturally talented writer, or would you say that writing is a skill that you've developed over time?
A combination of both. Because at the age of 13, I began to write, books and whatnot, and
Yeah,
it came natural. But
yeah,
over time, I began to hone that talent, and I
yeah,
began to do research, and I began to get my grammar better, my punctuation. So, I start off, naturally I have a gift for writing, but
yeah,
over the times I began to build upon that ability to write.
yeah,
I started to get it a little better, like Kobe Bryant.
yeah,
He was a natural, but he
yeah.
knew that just me being a natural isn't going to get me all the way. So therefore, I have to continue to build, continue to grow, continue to
Indeed.
get better.
Wow, definitely. This is great stuff. And like and you just work on it and work on it and it gets better. Just like I was having an interview with somebody yesterday and
Hmm.
they were talking about the same thing. They said when they look at the writing they did 3 years ago and the
Hmm.
writing they did this year, they can see that they have become better writers because they've practiced and they've done it
Right.
again and again and again. Wow, that's powerful stuff. And like, I mean, it's I'm so glad that they've made a movie about your book and your journey of life
Right.
because I mean, what I was going to be like, this sounds like a movie, but it is actually been already made into a movie. And the
Yes,
best
sir.
part of it is that it is, yeah, there's value in it. And you have realized that and you decide that this belongs out there. It's not mine, but it belongs to the world.
Right.
But looking at all of everything that has happened to this point in life and the work that you're doing, what would you tell me is the one thing that has happened to you personally that has had the greatest impact on you writing books?
Me growing up in the government housing projects and facing all the hardships that I face,
Uh,
it made me resilient.
uh,
I'm not giving up. I will not give up. I will not succumb. I will not be defeated. You know, it gave me that resiliency. So the best thing from, I mean, and people may look at this and be like, what?
Yeah.
Is he serious? But the best thing that happened for me in life was my mother abandoning me, my mother
Yeah.
not coming back to get me
Yeah.
and be a part of my life, and my
Yeah.
father, you know, not being there for me. That
Yeah.
made me strong. And with this strength that I have enough strength to lend to people. You feel what I'm saying? Encourage
And then,
people, motivate people. Maybe if I had a mother and I did have a father and I
yeah.
didn't go through the hardships and the complications that I went through at a young age, maybe I would be insensitive towards the wants and needs of other people. So the best
Yes.
thing that ever happened to me was God, Yahweh, allowing me to go through the trials and tribulations that I went through.
Wow. That's powerful stuff, Bobby. That's powerful stuff. And talking about trials and tribulation and challenges,
Hmm.
the world right now has been disrupted. Doesn't
Yes,
matter
yes.
where we're living geographically, the coronavirus, the global pandemic is a real thing wherever we are. And people's dreams have been shattered, businesses have been disrupted,
Hmm.
jobs have been lost.
Right,
And
right.
if, I mean, knowing what you know and what you have been through, what can you share with somebody who is in a tough place or they don't know what's going to happen next?
There's this saying that me and my brother used to share to one another. My brother went through a lot of the same hardships that I went through, not having a mother, not having a father,
Huh,
being a homeless teenager. As a teenager, I slept in cars,
huh,
vacant houses, and everywhere that me and my father slept at when I
huh,
was a baby that was months old, right?
huh,
We used to always say it get greater later.
huh.
It may be hard now, but it
Huh.
get greater later. But people
Wow.
have to understand that character, substance is built through hardships and pressure. So sometimes we have to go through these hardships in order to learn something different about ourselves, our society. So it may be hard right now, but it's not going to always be hard. It may be hard for a time, but it's going to ease up. But the harder that it gets, the more resilient that we become. There's not too much that we can't deal with in this world if we train and program ourselves to say, hey, no matter what happened, I'm going to find a reason to smile. If
Huh,
you can smile through the pain, then the pain becomes, it begins to alleviate. It
huh,
hurts a little less and a
huh,
little less and a little less. It's like working out. When you
huh,
work out, yeah, it hurt in the beginning, but as you continue to work, it hurts less and hurt less. We just got to mentally program ourselves to be optimistic and know that trouble don't last that long. You feel me? The storms
huh,
come, then after the storm is the peace. So we may be going through a hard time, but it's not gonna last that long. You know, just discover something different about yourself, or okay, I was attempting to put forth this business. This is what happened. Now what can I learn out of this pandemic that can strengthen me to where I can be a better mother, father,
huh,
sister, auntie, brother, business partner? Because it may be some aspect of business that you haven't thought about yet,
huh,
that this
huh,
pandemic gave you enough time to sit back, reflect, and say, you know what? Instead of putting the business over here, if I put it over here, it attract more peoples, or
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
aspect. You feel what I'm saying? But
yeah.
we have to perceive it from an optimistic point of view. We have to be optimistic.
Wow. Amazing stuff. Thank you so much, Bobby. And we have shared a lot, and I'm so glad we made time for this interview because it's so powerful and there's so much value in it. And I'm just curious, are you currently working on any other books after your
Right,
most recent one?
right now, I'm working on a movie script, and I'm also working on my memoirs. You know, like I done had it. I'm not gonna say a crazy life, but Yahweh God has blessed me to live an amazing life.
Uh,
And I want to use my testimony to encourage and motivate other people to come from environments like where I come from, to where you feel like all you have is your homeboy, the
uh,
streets, all you know is gang banging, drug dealing,
uh,
carrying guns, and inflicting unjustified violence upon your brothers who are going through the same trials and tribulations that you're going through. All we
uh,
trying to do is just find our place in this world.
uh,
So my story, I have to put it out there in my memoir so that people can read it and understand that you're not out here by yourself. Somebody else have went through it. Not only did I go through it, but God has blessed me to get out of it. I'm a success story coming from where I come from because I'm no longer there. I don't have millions of dollars. I don't even have hundreds of thousands, but I have peace. I have a sound mind, a sound mind, and I have wisdom, and that's enough. Now, if I can't apply that to put me in position to get hundreds of thousands and millions, then I guess it's not meant for me.
Wow. Wow. It's gonna get better later.
Yeah, it always get greater later, without a doubt. It get greater
Oh
later.
man, oh man, this is powerful. Thank you so much for making time for the interview, Bobby. And
Okay.
if somebody's watching the interview and they would like to know where to buy your books, where can they go?
Amazon.
Right.
Amazon.com.
Very nice. We'll put that link with the interview so that people can access the books and also the movie on Netflix and
Imperial Dreams.
Imperial Dreams. And where can people connect with you? If somebody watches this interview and they feel, I just want to get more of Bobby Jones, how can
You
they
can find
connect
me.
with you?
You can find me on Instagram. That's Bobby A. Jones on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook. Perspicacious Philosophical Yay. That's Perspicacious Philosophical Philosophical. Yay. YAY. Perspicacious Philosophical Yay.
Awesome. We'll put that link as well with the interview so that people can connect with you. Man, this was powerful. I'm so glad we did this. And I'm just
Yes,
curious,
indeed.
before we end the interview, is there anything else that you would like to share with our viewers and listeners before we?
Oh, you already know it is. As me and my brother always tell each other, it get greater later. Tough times don't last, but tough peoples do. Y'all stay up, find something to believe in, whether it's yourself or, the entity above, the sustainer of all life. Find something to believe in, attach yourself to, and don't be discouraged by the circumstances and the beliefs of other people and the circumstances of the world. Continue to push. God bless y'all.
Wow. Thank you so much, Bobby. This was amazing, and I will sure be keeping in touch.
I appreciate you. Thank you. God
You're
bless you.
welcome.